If you hold a green card and you are planning to travel internationally in 2026, there is something critically important you need to know before you pack a single bag, before you book a single ticket, and before you step foot inside any airport. A major new rule from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security took effect on December 26, 2025, and it changes the experience at the border for every lawful permanent resident in America. This is not a rumor. This is not speculation. This comes directly from U.S. Customs and Border Protection, CBP, and from the Department of Homeland Security's final rule published in the Federal Register. We are going to break it all down for you today, clearly, calmly, and completely, so you know exactly what to expect and how to protect yourself. Welcome to Immigration News Today. I am here to make sure that you, whether you have been a green card holder for 20 years or two, walk out of this video confident, prepared, and not caught off guard at the airport gate. So stay with me all the way through, because the information in the second half of this video could be the difference between a smooth international trip and a very stressful day at the border. Let us start from the beginning so we have the full picture. For decades, the United States government has been working toward what is called a biometric entry-exit system. The idea is straightforward. When a non-citizen enters the United States, the government knows they arrived. When they leave, the government knows they departed. Sounds simple, but for a long time, the exit side of that equation was not fully in place. People would leave the country, and there was no reliable automated record of when and how they departed. Congress actually mandated a biometric entry-exit system back in 1996. And it has taken nearly 30 years to get to full implementation. That implementation is now here. On October 24, 2025, CBP published its final rule in the Federal Register. The rule took effect December 26, 2025, and it is now actively being rolled out across airports, seaports, and land crossings throughout the United States. What does this rule do? It mandates that U.S. Customs and Border Protection collect biometric data, primarily facial photographs, from virtually all non-U.S. citizens, every single time they enter and every single time they exit the United States. And here is the part that affects green card holders directly. Lawful permanent residents, people who have lived in this country legally, sometimes for decades, are explicitly included in this rule. If you are not a U.S. citizen, you are covered, regardless of how long you have had your green card. Now, before anyone feels alarmed, let me be very clear about what this rule does and does not mean for you as a green card holder. This rule does not threaten your permanent resident status. It does not revoke your right to re-enter the United States. Your green card is still your green card. What this rule does is add a biometric verification step, a facial photograph captured by CBP's technology, every time you cross the border. It is a verification system, not a penalty system. But what it absolutely does mean is that if you are not prepared for it, if your documents are not in order, if there are inconsistencies in your records, you could face delays, additional questioning, and in some cases, secondary inspection. That is what we want to help you avoid. So how does this actually work at the airport? When you arrive at your departure gate for an international flight, or when you arrive back in the United States, you will encounter a camera connected to CBP's cloud-based Traveler Verification Service, which is known as TVS. That system uses facial recognition technology to match your live image against existing photo templates already stored in DHS databases, your green card photo, your passport photo, prior CBP encounter photos. According to the Federal Register filing, the National Institute of Standards and Technology has reported that facial comparison technology matches travelers at a rate exceeding 98%. That means the system is highly accurate. But it also means that when a mismatch occurs, even in a small percentage of cases, the traveler is flagged for manual review or referred to a CBP officer for additional inspection. And that is where delays can happen. What kinds of things can cause a mismatch or a flag? Think about it from a practical standpoint. If your green card has an older photo and your appearance has changed significantly, Due to aging, weight changes, a new hairstyle, or facial hair, the system may have a harder time confirming your identity. If your travel history shows long or frequent absences from the United States, a CBP officer may have questions about your ties to the country. If there have been any changes in your personal circumstances, a name change, a change in address, changes related to a pending immigration application, and those changes have not been properly updated in DHS systems, that can trigger additional scrutiny. This brings us to one of the most important practical points in this entire video. Before you travel, verify that your records are correct and current. Log into the CBP's I-94 website and confirm that your most recent entry record is accurate. Make sure the name on your green card matches the name on your travel documents exactly. If you have had any legal name changes and they are not reflected consistently across your documents, address that before you fly. If you have a pending immigration application, whether it is a renewal, an adjustment, or anything else, talk to an immigration attorney before booking international travel. Some pending applications can complicate re-entry, and an attorney can advise you on the specific risks for your situation. Now let us talk about the scope of this change because it is broader than many people realize. The old rules had exemptions. Children under 14 years of age were previously exempt from biometric collection at many points. Adults over 79 were also frequently exempt. Those exemptions are now gone. Under the December 26, 2025 final rule, age exemptions have been eliminated. Every non-citizen, children, elderly travelers, frequent commuters, long-term permanent residents, is now subject to biometric capture. If you are traveling with elderly parents who are green card holders, or with minor children who are not yet U.S. citizens, they will be included in this process as well. Prepare them accordingly. Let them know what to expect so there is no confusion or distress at the checkpoint. The rollout is happening in phases. CBP has confirmed that full implementation across all U.S. ports of entry will occur over a 3 to 5 year period, starting with major commercial airports and expanding to land crossings and seaports. So if you are traveling through a major international hub, places like JFK, LAX, Miami, Chicago O'Hare, Houston, Dallas, you should expect these biometric checkpoints to be operational or coming online very soon if they are not already. Airports across Ohio, for example, including Cleveland Hopkins and John Glenn Columbus International, are among those slated for early integration in 2026. If you are a green card holder who travels regularly across the U.S.-Canada land border, be aware that those crossings, like Detroit-Windsor and Buffalo-Niagara, are also part of the expansion plan. The bottom line is this: regardless of where you cross, the system is coming to your port of entry if it is not already there. There is another layer to this conversation that we need to address directly, and it is specifically relevant to green card holders from certain countries. In addition to the biometric entry-exit rule, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS, has announced that it will conduct intensive reviews of green cards issued to nationals from 19 specific countries. Those countries include Afghanistan, Burma, also known as Myanmar, Chad, the Republic of the Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Yemen, Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, Togo, Turkmenistan, and Venezuela. If you are a lawful permanent resident who originally came from one of these countries, your green card may be subject to additional scrutiny. DHS and USCIS are expected to issue additional guidance on what this review process entails and what documentation may be required. If you are from one of these 19 countries, we strongly encourage you to consult an immigration attorney before any international travel and to monitor official communications from USCIS closely. This does not mean your green card is being revoked. It means the government is conducting additional reviews, and being prepared, with an attorney's guidance, is your best protection. Let us also talk about what happens at the exit side of the border, because this is genuinely new territory for green card holders. For years, the entry process was well known. You land, You go through CBP inspection, you show your green card, you answer questions, and you are admitted. The exit process was far more informal. In most cases, your departure was recorded by the airline or cruise line providing manifest data to CBP, but there was no systematic biometric capture of you leaving. That changes now. When you depart for an international trip, you will be photographed. That departure record becomes part of your biometric travel history. For green card holders, this creates a new digital record of how long you are spending outside the United States, how frequently you are traveling, and the pattern of your comings and goings. Under immigration law, a green card holder who spends too much time outside the United States, generally more than 6 months in a single trip without proper documentation, or patterns that suggest you have abandoned your U.S. residency, can face challenges re-entering. The biometric system does not change that legal standard, but it does make the tracking of those absences far more systematic and precise. So what does this mean for you practically? If you are planning an extended trip abroad, to care for a family member, to handle business matters, or for any other reason that will keep you outside the United States for more than 6 months, you should apply for a re-entry permit before you leave. A re-entry permit is a travel document issued by USCIS that signals your intention to maintain your permanent residence in the United States, even during an extended absence. It does not guarantee re-entry, but it is strong documentation of your intent. Apply through USCIS Form I-131 and do it before you depart, because you cannot apply for a re-entry permit from outside the United States. If you are making shorter trips, keep documentation with you that demonstrates your ties to the United States. Tax returns, lease agreements, employment records, bank statements, utility bills. These are the kinds of documents that show a CBP officer you have a genuine ongoing life in the United States. Before we go further, let us talk about what to do if things go wrong at the border. It does happen, even to people who have done everything correctly. If the biometric system flags you and you are referred to secondary inspection, remain calm. You have the right to be treated with dignity and respect. Answer questions honestly and consistently. If you do not understand a question, ask for clarification. Do not sign anything you do not fully understand. If you are detained or if the situation becomes serious, you have the right to contact an immigration attorney. If you believe you have been wrongly flagged due to a biometric matching error, there is a formal government redress process available through the DHS Traveler Redress Inquiry Program, known as DHS TRIP. You can file a complaint and request a review of your records. Keep copies of all your immigration documents, your green card, your passport, your I-94 records, any pending application notices, both in physical form and as digital copies accessible on your phone. Now, what about USCIS's separate biometric expansion proposal? This is a different initiative from the CBP entry-exit rule, and it is important not to confuse the two. In November 2025, USCIS published a proposed rule in the Federal Register that would significantly expand the collection of biometrics in connection with immigration benefit applications, things like green card renewals, naturalization, and work authorization. This proposal would require biometric submission, including fingerprints and photographs, from virtually anyone filing or associated with an immigration benefit request, regardless of age. The public comment period for this USCIS proposal closed in early January 2026, and further rulemaking is expected before it becomes final policy. This means it is not yet in effect, but it is moving through the process, and it could significantly affect processing times for immigration applications once it is finalized. Stay tuned to this channel. We will cover every update to that proposal as it develops. Here is a clean summary of the practical steps you should take right now before any international travel. First, check your green card's expiration date. If it is expiring within the next year, begin the renewal process now using USCIS Form I-90. Processing times are currently extended, and the biometric appointment for that renewal is itself subject to new scheduling requirements. Second, Verify your I-94 travel record through the CBP online portal to confirm your entry history is accurate. Third, gather and organize your supporting documentation, proof of your U.S. ties, copies of your immigration documents, and any notices related to pending applications. Fourth, if you are from one of the 19 countries undergoing USCIS green card review, consult an immigration attorney before traveling. Fifth, if you are planning a trip of more than 6 months, apply for a re-entry permit before you depart. Sixth, allow extra time at the airport. The biometric process itself is designed to take under 20 seconds per traveler, but during peak travel periods, at newly equipped checkpoints, or when secondary inspection occurs, the overall process can take considerably longer. Give yourself a buffer. Do not book a tight connection if you can avoid it. Seventh, if you are traveling with elderly green card holders or children who are not yet citizens, prepare them for the photograph process so it does not catch them off guard. Immigration policy in this country is evolving at an extraordinary pace. What is true today may be modified by new guidance, new executive orders, or new agency rulemaking in the weeks and months ahead. That is exactly why we are here. To make sure you stay informed, stay prepared, and never walk into an airport unaware of the rules that apply to you. We are your daily resource for immigration news, travel updates, senior rights, and government changes. Our mission is to translate complex federal policy into clear, actionable information that you can actually use. If this video helped you today, please consider sharing it with someone who holds a green card, with a family member who travels internationally, or with anyone in your community who needs to know about these changes. Giving this video a like takes 2 seconds and tells us that this kind of content matters to you. And if you are not yet subscribed to Immigration News Today, please hit that subscribe button right now. We publish daily updates, so you are always one step ahead of the rules and never caught off guard. Before I sign off, I want to be very clear about something. Everything we share on this channel, including this video, is for informational purposes only. It is not legal advice, and it is not a substitute for consulting a qualified immigration attorney or accredited representative for your specific situation. Immigration law is complex, individual circumstances vary enormously, and policy changes can occur with little notice. Always verify the latest guidance directly with official sources including U.S. Customs and Border Protection at cbp.gov, the Department of Homeland Security at dhs.gov, and U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services at USCIS.gov. If you have a complicated situation, a pending application, a long absence, or a nationality covered by the USCIS review list, please seek professional legal guidance before making any travel decisions. Thank you for trusting Immigration News Today. Stay informed, stay prepared, and we will see you in the next video.